Hey guys, all right, so we're doing youth group and I just thought maybe this would be the easiest way to do this is just make a video of the object lesson today that we're going to be talking about. I'm going to read you a verse that always comes to my head. This is hopefully a verse that you can think about throughout your life. I remember hearing it when I was your age, and it's a very valuable verse. So this comes from Matthew chapter 6, starting with verse 33. And it says, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." You probably may have heard that verse, or maybe even heard songs that talk about that. But really what it's talking about is just putting God first, seeking his kingdom, seeking the things of God first, and then everything else will just fall into place. We have been talking in the last couple weeks about your gifts and what your passions and how God is going to use you and use your gifts, use the desires of your heart, but most importantly, all those things that we've been talking about that you love to do and that you're good at, God comes before that. So there might be times in your life, for example, I'm going to give you an example. I might have shared this last week, I can't remember. But one of Lynn at church, he was talking about baseball. And he loved baseball. And he played baseball all the time, even as an adult. And he was very good at it. He was on a team that was winning lots of awards. And there came a time when baseball, of course, was throughout the weekend and even on Sundays. And so he missed church. And there was a time when God said, "Hey, what is more important? Is this baseball more important than me?" And he asked him to give up going to the game on Sunday, which was a big deal because he was supposed to get the most valuable player award, and they were on a roll. It was a very important game. But the Lord said, "Will you give this to me?" And he loves baseball, guys. He loves baseball. But he said, "Okay, Lord, I'm going to give you this because you're more important." And so he was putting God before his passion and before his gifts. And even he could have even said, "Hey, I can't let my team down, right? They need me. I can't let them down." But when God asks you to do something, it's always for your good. And so he cares about your heart. And then everything else is going to fall into place. So I have a little object lesson that we're going to be talking about. I want to read that verse one more time for you. Matthew 6:33. Hopefully it's a verse that maybe you can memorize. And it says, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." If we put God first, everything in our life is just going to fall into place. That doesn't mean that everything's going to be rosy all the time and that we're not going to go through hard times. It means that God is going to provide for us, and he's going to give us what we need when we need it. All we have to do is seek him first. Hey guys, so here we are talking about putting God first, right? So we have two bottles, and they're going to represent two different things. This bottle is going to represent doing things for God, putting him first. Maybe taking time to pray, taking time to read our word, asking Jesus what he thinks he would want us to do, maybe before we made decisions, putting him first. We've been talking a lot about our passions and our desires, what we're good at, and how God uses all those things in our life. And those are great things, but God always wants us to put him before all of our passions and desires and anything, right? So this can represent everything else we do. You guys know school's important, homework's important, sports, maybe you play video games to kind of relieve the stress, or with your friends, you hang out with your friends. These aren't all bad things. These aren't bad things, but if we are filling our life up with all the things that we wanted to do that's not really building the kingdom, and we're leaving God out, we're not putting him first, then our life is going to get kind of mixed up and out of order. And so we're going to see what happens when we put the things of this world before we put God, right? Oh, wow. Okay, so what's happening is it's becoming green. I don't know if you can see that. But everything is getting mixed in together. we have almost like 2 green bottles here. Everything's all mixed up to make sure that Jesus is first in our life. Well, let's see what happens. We spend time, and we know, we just make a plan to spend time with Him every day. Make it time, ask Him what He would want us to do each and every day. Love Him more than we love the things of this world. Let's see what happens. What happened last time was all the waters turned green. What if we put Jesus first? Okay guys, it looks like the waters are good. It looks like the yellow water is staying. They're not mixing. And so we have our priorities in order. There's no confusion here. We know that God comes first. We know that we love Him first. We know that we seek Him and we say, Lord, what would you want me to do? And if there's going to be times when God says, hey, I need you to give this up, or I need you to stop doing this, or I need you to spend more time with me, we're going to be able to do that. And our life is going to be in order. There's going to be priorities here. The water is not mixing. Do you know how that happened? Maybe we'll talk about it later. If you would like to know how that worked out.